Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Friday, January 5th. So, first off, I want to thank everybody that did their input on yesterday of the direction of the channel. I had never thought until Bob had posted it, and then one of the other guys posted it, that for you guys that don't want to get into the really deep stuff, I never thought you could just not watch that content, right? Because there's not a chronicle auto order that you have to follow, right? If there's certain things that you really don't care much about, you're just not going to watch it. That's fine. So it makes it a little easier, because I was afraid I was getting the two mired together, so that, for you guys that were coming just for the Swansea repair, that maybe I was letting you guys down. And I know I have a lot of folks that come to the channel that are looking for good, solid advice on life in general. And I don't want to turn them off either. I think there's a little bit of something for everyone here, including me. Because if it weren't for you, I'd be just talking to my puppet or my dogs. So I thought today we would talk about beware of men or people bearing gifts and the fraud that's out there. So hang with us. So let's start off with fraud. What is fraud, right? Well, these guys, and a lot of them are from Russia, China, North Korea, they're getting better and better at scamming people, defrauding you. And used to be you could spot them pretty easily. They'd create like a mirror website of a banking institution. But you click on it, and if you looked in the HTTPS area, it wouldn't show Chase Bank. It would show some other off and on. And they would hope that you wouldn't catch that, and you would put in your username and password, and then they would grab that and they would run over to Chase and log in and drain your accounts. That was one way. And what I'm seeing a lot now is there's a lot of phone and email scam. I mean, emails have always been, girls. And it's one of the main reasons. Hey, stop. Not this morning. That I got in with Google. I mean, I can remember when I got in with Google with Gmail, okay? At that time, girls, Google wasn't doing a lot. They were trying to perfect their search. And they were working hard at creating a mail server. And I can remember back when I got asked to join Gmail, it was an invite only. And the only ones that were being invited at that time were guys that had a strong IT background, programming background. And we were there to kind of test it, run it, find the bugs, and help them perfect it. And one of the things that the owners, per se, of Google did at that time was they took a lot of input from us. And one of the things that I wanted from a email account was something that had some form of security, that could take and, all the spam you get. Don't even let it come through. Just get rid of it. But the problem with that at the time was Google didn't know what was classified as spam or what was important to you. And sometimes important stuff will get caught in the spam filters, okay? Certain locations would trigger it, certain wording, certain keywords, certain keystrokes would trigger it to go to the spam folder. And to this day, I still have 3 Gmail accounts. And the best part is, 1, it's free. 2, they're on top of it, guys. If you don't have a Gmail account, I would suggest you get one for your primary, for your business, because that is gonna, Gmail will protect you as much as possible. And then you need to have a good antivirus software program on your PC or your laptop, phone. And what I recommend for that, for protection, is I've always stayed with Norton, okay? And why Norton? Because Norton is the one that really went out, and I mean, even LifeLock and all them, Norton bought them out and made it part of their package. I know that when I first was getting into it, Norton was the small guy on the block, okay? And AVG, I think, was one of the ones out there that were open source, which means you can use it for free. Just you have to cite it that it belongs to them. But I didn't want to spend, because being in the industry, I knew that there were so many things going on of people just trying to scam each other, fraud, everything else, that I really didn't want to be spending all my time monkeying with it, you know? So I settled on Gmail as my primary Gmail account. And I settled on Norton 360. And I think today you can get it on up to 10 devices for so much a year. And what you can do when you, a lot of people, like, you have your phone, your laptop, and your PC, right? So there's 3 licensees. So that leaves you 7. So if you brothers or sisters, you know, that they don't have to live in the same house, they can live in a different state. For as far as that goes, all they have to do is just log into your Norton account, download the key, and they can put it on 3 of theirs. So now you've got 4 left. What I'm getting at is with Norton, you know, share it with a family and pass the cost over more people than just yourself. See, with me, I've got 2 here on PC, 2, 3 licenses here, and then I've got 2 down to the shop. And then my daughter uses up the rest of them on their systems, with the kids with their phones and that stuff. And of course, Papa pays for that. But if you don't have it, if you don't have a good antivirus program, Norton is a good one for its money. I got Claude on it because Claude is not really computer savvy, and Norton will do it for you. You know, it's hands off, it does its own thing, and it's great. So the other part is beware of men or people bearing gifts. So this kind of goes in line, and it's not strictly just business, but it's on a personal level too, is you get all these people, I don't know how they get a hold of your cell phone number, or the shop number and stuff like that, but they'll start calling you and telling you about their products, but they're not selling anything. They're just there to help you. And it's bullcrap. A good salesman could sell a freezer to an Eskimo, right? And they only have like 60 below up there. But that's the good salespeople have spent so much time perfecting their craft, all right? And they want to make it so that, because they know that most items sell if you're providing a solution for a problem somebody has. But these guys can create problems that you never thought you had and then sell you a product that will solve the problems that you never thought you had. You probably didn't. All in the name of helping you. And case in point, yesterday I had a merchant service company call me, and they wanted to, I know what they want. I mean, we get it about once a month, all right? And she went into her whole spiel. You could tell that she was reading off from a card of how to sell the product. And she kept saying, I don't have anything for sale. I'm just trying to save you money by not going through a third-party reseller and just going direct, because the risk involved with your risk management, which I'm a risk management manager. What? I'm here to save you. Now, I've been with the same merchant service now since 2006. I like it because I can do virtual online with a card, or I can do it right there in the office. It doesn't matter. It goes directly to my checking account. That's the way I want it. And yes, I pay, it's a certain percentage of that transaction. I think it's around 3%. We don't do American Express because they're crazy when it comes to businesses collecting money. But they want to push it across to something that's going to help you that you didn't know you had a problem with to begin with, which you probably didn't, right? And I always go with something that works. And I learned years ago, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we haven't had any issues. I can remember early on when we were running cards through eBay and stuff, that we had some fraud transactions but we haven't seen anything like that in 12, 15 years now. But the other thing is, it's just like, the salesman, if you're in business, like First Volumes and Repair, I have a lot of these distributors, the salespeople for those distributors, telling you what you have to have, what you need to have. And the more they can talk you into buying, the better percentage they get on the back end. Because what a lot of the salespeople don't tell you is they get a base pay, but then they get a certain percentage of anything over a certain amount per month in sales that they generate. It's not super big money, but it's good money. And they don't care if they just put you 10 grand in the hole on a preseason order that you didn't think you needed, but they told you had to have it just to keep going, and all the money you're going to save. It's all a game. It's no different than going to an auction. And most of you guys probably have gone to auctions, right? And that's where, if you don't go to an auction knowing what something costs, I've seen people go stupid money on stuff. Take an example. A round pointed shovel, in decent shape. You could buy it at Tractor Supply for around 14. But I've seen in auctions they go up to $28, $29. And the people think they got a deal. They didn't come in with a preconceived notion of this is what I'm willing to pay and I'm not going above it. I don't get caught up in auctions. I go to a lot of auctions. I do a lot of buying at auctions. But I know what I want to give for it. And it's not going to be anywhere near retail price. It's going to be closer to what I deem as wholesale that I can flip and get myself out of it if I have to. Preseason orders are the same thing. When you sign on with a company where you're floor planning, you don't get to pick and choose what they send you. They send you what they say is the latest and greatest of everything, right? And what they're really doing is they're trying to figure out what do they got excess inventory of that didn't move. And they're making that part of the must-have to send to you every spring and every fall. I've still got stuff from MTD when I first started with them where they required us to take, it was so many thousands of dollars. And I've still got some of their parts from that first order. And it wasn't, I got to pick and choose this and that. No, they had a package that said, this is what you're going to get. If you want to be a MTD warranty and retail shop. So just be careful. Sometimes, you're dealing with the devil. Because the way it used to be, back when I first got into the business of small engine repair and selling parts online and stuff, is I could look at what sold the prior year, the common stuff, and then I would do a preseason, in the spring of certain stuff that I sold a lot of during the summer months. And by doing a preseason, sometimes depending on how much you went, some of my preseasons were 30 and 40 grand. But it was like 5-10% off what I would pay normally if I bought it during that period of time. Now, I'm assuming all the risk, okay? That's the key. You're assuming all the risk. And with most preseason orders, they give you so many months to have it paid in full. And some places will take some stuff back, but nail you with a restocking fee if you send it back, where a lot of times it's farther ahead just to discount it and get rid of it than it is to deal with. And they know that. They know that you don't want to deal with that crap. But it used to be you could go from the prior year and figure out what to have on hand. And, we were carrying a lot of inventory. Loaded up in the spring, and then it wasn't as heavy in the fall for snowblower stuff and everything, but the spring, with your mower blades, your cables, your belts, your filters, oil, air, spark plugs, fuel filters, fuel line, rope. If I sold a lot of it the prior year, I had something to base it on. But you can't do that anymore, because what I've seen over the past 6 years is what I sell online and retail is getting less and less and less. And the reason it's getting less and less and less is because the Chinese sellers are, what's the right word? Evolving. So that they're starting to buy warehouses at the ports. And they've got people in place at the ports that are now shipping from the port instead of shipping from, China. So now the bigger stuff that wasn't covered under the e-packet system of shipping it direct from China to here now gets tossed in the water, because once that container ship shows up and they get it unloaded into that warehouse at the port, now they can sell you stuff that is a lot heavier, if that makes any sense. See, it used to be when the Chinese sellers first came in, they kind of stayed with the smalls, carburetor kits, filters, mix of this, mix of that. But it all stayed below that 15 ounces. And then they got into carburetors, and then. But now that they have stocked warehouses at like 6 different locations throughout the U.S., where the container ship is coming in and they've unloaded, now they can ship it directly from that port, from Kentucky, California, Jersey, directly to you as a buyer on eBay and Amazon. So even the big ticket items and the heavy stuff have diminished. It takes a while to figure out what they're not selling, because if they can see a way to make money, they're going to do it. So what that's basically done to shops like our own, we used to sell a lot of parts online, I'll be honest with you, and it was always good weather somewhere. I would sell, mower blades in Hawaii year round. Texas was longer growing seasons. I can remember selling snowblower parts up in Alaska. Somebody always wanted something. But for you guys wanting to get into it now, the market is different. It's not that you can't do it, it's just different, all right? Part of your business model or your business plan for most small engine shops were pretty basic, and that is, if you're just doing repairs, all right, that shop would order the part, mark the part up, so they have some markup on that part. And then they would do labor to install it, right? So they had 2 revenue streams through the repair shop. Whereas your bigger shops were also inventorying. So they had sales out front of parts and accessories that were marked up. They also got the markup on the parts that they were using out in the shop for mechanics wise, and they were getting the labor. Not so much anymore, because people are pretty adept now with using technology. Even some of my older customers in their late 60s, 70s are going online and getting their parts for a lot less than what it would cost me if I went to one of our distributors. And you can't blame the customer. So that leaves your repair shops in a situation of the sales that you're going to generate on parts, if you're still buying and marking them up, is convenience. It's that you have it on hand. If you got to order it, like most shops that are doing that I know right now, they've cleaned their inventory out and they're saying, we can have it to you in a few days, which usually translates into 1 to 2 weeks. And customers don't want to wait that long. So you're left with the repair business, and that is, you can't mark the parts up. You can, but what we tend to do is, if I can get it cheaper on eBay and get it shipped in, I'll buy it on eBay, mark it up some because of my time looking it up, trying to find the parts, the time it takes to get it here, you're tying up bays, and then the amount of money for labor that it took to install it. The one thing I do not do is I don't let the customer bring the parts to me, because most of the time they're wrong anyways. So the new guy that wants to start a repair shop now, you're kind of basing it solely on your hourly labor, right, to make a living. So you need to stay busy. If you work an 8-hour day, you want to have at least 6.5 hours clocked in somewhere on equipment to cover your wages, right? And if you have employees like mechanics, you need so many hours clocked in on each mechanic, on each employee, just to cover the costs. So I'm not saying that it's not doable. I'm just saying you need to honestly take a look at that and say, can I still make money on just the labor? And that's where I would tell newer shops to focus, is focus more on the repair side of it and less on retail, because everybody's going on eBay and Amazon ordering those parts in anyways. And, some of them are even doing their own work now. But that's my take on the way the business has gone. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a new thing that you have to look at it and say, can I get enough repair work in here to make it feasible? You always want equipment sitting there waiting to be worked on. And we roll things through our shop quite fast. And a lot of times there's nothing out there left to do, that we could take on more if we had, more pieces of equipment here. So you're constantly advertising to get more repair work. That's the ticket to selling in 2024, is repairs. That's where the money is, guys. You got to make it on the repair side now. On that note, you guys have a great weekend. And I'll see if I can't throw up some kind of a video today working on something. Hard telling what we got going on in the shop this morning. We've got that tire. I can show you how Cloud mounts it onto the rim while it's still on the lawnmower. And I'll see what I can come up with over the weekend. It's supposed to be cold anyway, so I just won't be inside doing videos and out there freezing my tush off feeding cows. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching.